Yo, yo, yo. How you living? How you feeling? How you doing? First Choice Fantasy, we back. Brandon, how you living?
I'm living good. How about you, Ed?
I'm chilling. Alex, how you doing?
I'm, in fact, alive.
He's alive. We're back, and we're cracking, and we're dacking, and we're not slacking.
I am not decking, actually.
Well, you had Dak at number one
Well,
previously, but
Dak is celebrating.
Somebody had to be number one, Ed.
Wentz couldn't have been number one anyway. Ignore that.
No.
Ignore that.
He's throwing to a ham sandwich.
Johnny Boy from Blockbuster. Actually, don't ever disrespect Johnny Boy. But we got.
I have the ham sandwich ranked over him, so.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'll pass on that one every day of the week.
That's never a good sign. Not the
Yeah.
ham sandwich.
Not the hammy.
Reminds me of that ESPN graphic from a few years ago with LeBron's teammates.
I don't remember it.
I don't recall, but
I'll just
like
show
a
you guys
great
after. It's pretty
picture.
funny. It was like LeBron's teammates, and it was Kyle Korver in like a sandwich and a gym sock.
What the fuck? All right. Anyway, we are diving into the NFC South wide receivers today. A lot of stars, a lot of star potential, a lot of sleepers, in my opinion. I think there's a couple sleepers in this division. But, yeah, we got roasted corn as well. Forgot about that. Man down there, roasted corn.
Corn is fantastic. Yeah. That's how I feel about this division. These receivers. They're great, just like roasted corn.
Roasted corn.
Yep.
I said this to you guys off air, but I will say it again. I think this is the best out of all the position groups. I think this one's the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
In any division, not just in this one.
That's probably why your corn is roasted, because you're sitting behind the laptop, you're watching them on TV, and you're just like, whoa, they're all catching fire. Look at all those fantasy points. Just Michael Thomas on his 13th catch. Oh, wow.
In the first quarter.
Yeah, in the first quarter.
All right.
That's how that happened with Alex. Although there's no sports right now, so I guess you're still just a little.
Isn't baseball
watching highlights? Baseball is hypothetically coming back.
End of July, or is that just?
No, I mean like the commissioner just like had to impose the season because like the owners and players just could not work that out.
Now, what about basketball? When is that supposed to come back?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure hockey starts like July 30th or something like that.
I think that's when NBA might be starting back up.
It's probably about that same time.
30th. Because they said it the 31st, and then they backed it up one day. I don't know what the reason for that was, but maybe just placement.
I've been trying not to think about it in hopes that I do not start counting the hours before sports comes back.
That's what I'm trying to accomplish here.
I'm going to start looking up at the clock every 10 minutes, like,
it's time.
Are they back? No. I still got another 3,000 minutes.
Yep.
Well, good thing we got fantasy football to hold us over, dynasty leagues, redraft talk, all that stuff. So without further ado, let's pull out some scissors.
Cut it right on over there.
Cut to the intro.
I said, baby, I am not the one to play with. Ain't the type to give up, I'm driven and motivated. I just want some recognition and some compensation. But this ain't about the money and it ain't about the fame. I got lightning in a bottle, I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out. Lightning in a bottle, I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out.
Back.
I hope that part gets cut too.
That part is being kept in there because I love the sound effects.
And we never left, like Michael Thomas at 1.
Michael Thomas at 1. Actually, let's speak about Michael Thomas because I got a statement from a viewer who wasn't really viewing, but he Snapchatted me and he responded to my story about the NFC South or whatever. This man said, I don't want to watch your video mainly because I will disagree with your takes and your opinions because Michael Thomas is not the number one receiver in the NFL. He wasn't the best receiver last year in the NFL is what he said to me.
Okay, well, who was the best fantasy receiver then, in his view?
That too, exactly.
Because if it wasn't Michael Thomas, then he's fucking drunk.
Yeah,
he called him I don't feel like airing the dude out, but he said that the guy was a glorified running back. That's what he said.
What does that even mean?
But
Okay, that's strange.
It didn't make any sense to me because he described what a running back is. It is an open field, talented playmaker who has speed. And I said, if anything, if you want to use that logic, I would say that Michael Thomas is a glorified tight end.
Okay.
But Michael
Tell me
Thomas
how.
has the ability to separate with his route running. He is a monster route runner. He creates that separation. Let me know what running back is doing that and getting however.
This is why
if he's bad, just tell me how he averaged in half PPR leagues 2 points per game more than any other receiver.
He said, this is what his, not claim to fame per se, but the big quote that he had that hit me, and I didn't have a response for because I don't know how to respond to it. He said something about yards per catch. It was very
Probably
low.
something stupid.
It was like 11. I believe it was 11. And I was like,
all right, so he's getting a first down per catch.
And
terrible.
Well, in the NFL, it's 70th, ranked 70th or something like that. So like efficiency-wise, like I know I don't care, but this is like what he was saying that Michael Thomas doesn't do anything after the catch. He gets the catch like Zach Ertz or somebody like that and just falls down. And I said, if anything, I mean, wide receivers, what do wide receivers do? They catch the football. You don't like playmakers. Playmakers are the people that get the ball in air or in space and try to make a move and like get past people. Michael Thomas is strictly a traditional wide receiver, one of the best hands in the NFL. He had the highest contested catch rate last year. He had the number three. He was ranked number 3 in true catch rate. I mean, he has hands. He has volume. Fantasy-wise, he was the best wide receiver last year, obviously.
By a sizable margin.
By a sizable margin, yeah. I mean,
well,
also, in terms of averages, 1 through 4 come from this division.
Yeah.
Just nuts.
The only thing I really learned about Michael Thomas is really just the fact that you said his average catch, his yards of catching is 11 yards.
Well, his average target is 8 yards, but his yards
8 yards
efficiency-wise is 11. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Michael Thomas is my undisclosed one at the moment, at least in this division, of course.
Yeah.
So, really, that 11 yards and the 8 yards average depth of target, that's telling me that DJ Moore, who had a 11 yards per average target, he got 11 yards average target. Yards per target. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Like average target depth. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
All right. So
really, and if you think about it, Teddy Bridgewater being the quarterback, he was with the Saints. He had experience with Michael Thomas. Now, I'm not saying DJ Moore is Michael Thomas or anything like that, but I mean, DJ Moore plays to the same shorter yard strength. So I don't know. He plays in the wheelhouse that Teddy Bridgewater excels in, and that's why I think he excels to bigger potential and bigger overall ratings than like Curtis Samuel and Robbie Anderson, who play at their own strengths, but not to Teddy Bridgewater's strengths, at least not to what we know. Yeah.
I noticed what you did there. We kind of like transitioned smoothly into the Panthers with the new Saints quarterback, but I guess we'll stay on this topic. But with DJ Moore, I was very close to putting him above Chris Godwin just because, like what you said, like I drew this comparison between him and Michael Thomas of like just target distance wise. I mean, he has 2 other deep threats on his team, and obviously Teddy Bridgewater is conservative. The only thing that pulled me back from that was the fact that DJ Moore's contested catch rate was not up there like Michael Thomas's was before he blew up, and his true catch rate wasn't up there either. I'm not saying his true catch rate and his contested catch rate was shit, but it was average. And I mean, with Teddy Bridgewater, it's not a bad quarterback. It's 10 times better than Kyle Allen. Like I'll get into that later, but Kyle Allen was complete shit last year. But
I see what you mean, man, and like. That's kind of the reason why I kept DJ Moore at 4, because I looked at Godwin. I saw Tom Brady coming in.
Yeah.
So I looked at it as, okay, who's getting the better quarterback? I saw Tom Brady, Teddy Bridgewater. They both played, some conservative, of course, but I thought who does it best? And, of course, you got to go with Tom Brady, especially he's never had these weapons, especially with Mike Evans, along with all the tight ends he's got. I mean, this might open up or hurt Chris Godwin's future.
Yeah, I was thinking about it also from a volume perspective. Last year, Chris Godwin had 120 targets, and like they passed the ball obviously like an insane amount last year. DJ Moore still somehow surpassed him with 135 targets, and I can see DJ Moore getting even more targets this year, especially with Joe Brady coming in, negative game script, yada yada yada. He's a good talent. Teddy Bridgewater is probably going to be Teddy Bridgewater's number one target, honestly. I mean, evidently. But, yeah. Alex, you got anything to say about your favorite man, DJ Moore?
I mean, I'm a big fan. Don't think I'm not because I put him at 5. Maybe I'm underrating him a little bit. The thing I like, I don't know if he's got like the potential upside of an Evans, a Godwin, or a Jones. It seemed like last year he was a pretty solid, consistent performer, which has a lot of value to me. But, I'll take that shot at like 25 over like the consistent 14. But, maybe
you're saying
maybe
at the 25 with Mike Evans, is that what you're saying?
yeah, like an Evans or Godwin. Those are the guys capable of like going off for like 30. Maybe I'm underrating Moore's ability to do that. Maybe he'll get more like explosive chunk plays this year. But I mean, I could see him finishing as high as like 2 in the division.
He's got the upside.
To me, 2 through 5 are really close to me. I put Julio at 2 simply because like he's still Julio and like maybe he'll score more touchdowns for once. And I don't know, the Tampa Bay guys, I don't really know what to think about.
I mean,
Other
as
than
you
they're
said,
good.
with the consistent like 12 or 14 with DJ Moore, like I kind of see him, like I said earlier, as far as drawing the comparison with Michael Thomas, I see him like being a mini Michael Thomas per se, like fantasy output. So, I mean, I can see him spike to become a Michael Thomas. Maybe not wide receiver 1 this year, but eventually I can see him being a top 3 wide receiver. Like,
Hey, you got to think this is like his 3rd season.
Yeah.
He had a good rookie season last year. He had an excellent sophomore season. Like if he takes another step forward, you're talking about him in that 2 spot.
Exactly. Yeah. And Mike Evans, I mean, while I'm not out on him, I know he's not obviously an elder wide receiver. Like he's not a fucking 10-year veteran or anything like that. But I mean, you go from Jameis Winston, who obviously we talked about in the quarterbacks and tight ends episode and defense episode, which we're going to have pop up. It's going to be at the end of the video also. But we talked about how Winston has this trigger happy, like go for it. Like he led the league last year in interceptable passes. I don't see Tom Brady doing that. Last year, Tom Brady was 17th among all quarterbacks in interceptable passes. Like that just shows like his lack of, I guess, risk-taking ability because he's smarter. He plays more smarter, if that's even a fucking thing.
Also, if you just watch the Bucs last year, like Godwin had more than a few touchdowns where you were like, Jameis, what the hell were you thinking throwing that ball?
Yeah.
And then Godwin did something stupid and like took it 60 yards.
The only difference I have with Mike Evans and Godwin, and I'm sure maybe I'm either wrong but this is my take on it. Evans is more of a physical, go up and get it receiver, like a deep threat kind of receiver also. Big body, deep threat, while Godwin is more route running underneath, like a DJ Moore kind of wide receiver. And obviously I haven't seen, not that I can remember, I haven't seen Brady really target a big body wide receiver like that, like ever, maybe.
Randy Moss, maybe?
Randy Moss,
That's what I was thinking.
that's fair, yeah. But that was also back when, how many
like 12 years ago.
Yeah, when Tom Brady wasn't 42 years old. So that's the only worry I have with Mike Evans. He's obviously still talented, but he just.
My concern with him is more so like the injuries and the inconsistencies. It seems like last year he was locked to put up either 40 or 6 points or just not play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure at a game last year we had 0 points, didn't he?
I could see
I believe so.
Also, if Godwin keeps playing in the slot too, like I think Brady will keep exploiting the hell out of them slot receivers like any good quarterback should.
Yeah.
Especially one that gets open the way he does.
Exactly. That's why, and I expect Brady to have that high touchdown upside this year. And Evans obviously can benefit from that just from being a jump ball specialist, I guess you would call him. But He's good at going up and getting it physical. Tom Brady doesn't seem like a risky kind of taker, but I mean, it's Mike Evans, and you can't really count him out, honestly.
Now, question for you guys. Calvin Ridley, how far outside of this top 5 tier of wide receivers in this division is he?
Big jump.
Big jump?
In my opinion. I mean,
in my opinion, I tend to agree with you.
Little jump.
I feel like Calvin Ridley's kind of getting overhyped. Like, okay, I'm on Twitter. Obviously, Alex, you said you weren't on Twitter that much, if at all. Brandon,
Never.
you don't seem to be on Twitter like in the fantasy football atmosphere. I see people saying this man's going to be a mid-wide receiver 1, and I don't even see that as a ceiling. I think his ceiling is very, like, wide receiver 12. Maybe wide receiver, like, 13, 14 is his ceiling. I'm so –
I can understand why. I feel the same way. If someone offered me Calvin Ridley straight up with any of those top 5 players, I would say no. And it wouldn't be like I'd even think about it. It'd be, no.
yeah. I mean,
and like even if it was packaged with something, Calvin Ridley, to me, his value is lower than the perceived value.
There's people saying Calvin Ridley might become this year's Chris Godwin, and that also irritates me because that's just not going to happen. You can't.
If anything, that's DJ Moore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't understand why Calvin Ridley's even being discussed in that way.
I mean, I can
totally understand. Calvin Ridley's numbers in his second season were much better than Chris Godwin's numbers in his second season. I feel like y'all are hating on Ridley a little bit. This is his third season.
He's also, 25, 26?
Yeah, he's 25, but still, this is his third NFL season, and he played really well last year. He got hurt towards the end of the year, but, he was pretty solid. I mean, 14, 20, 17, 12, 11, 24, 19, 13, 16.
I wouldn't say that saying he's a borderline wide receiver 1 is hating on him. I just think people have to settle their expectations with the dude because, I mean, he's not even a wide receiver 1 in his own offense. I don't see that offense. I mean, sure.
Oh, yeah, but neither is, one of Mike Evans or Chris Godwin.
Wait, you saying they're not going to finish both as wide receiver 1s? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you said he's not wide receiver 1 in his own offense. Well, technically, one of Evans or Godwin is going to be wide receiver 2 in that offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, no, I think it's you could say it's like 1-2, but I see it more as a 1A, 1B, honestly, with Godwin and Evans compared to Ridley.
Yeah, I mean, but with the amount that the Falcons throw the ball.
I mean, yeah, you can say that too. That's what I was trying to say. The Falcons' offense is a high passing volume, just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were last year. But, I mean, I would bet on Godwin's talent over Calvin Ridley. Plus, I would take.
Yeah, but that's why Godwin's going in the first round, and Ridley's going in
compared to Matt Ryan's not necessarily conservatism, but not as aggressive as Jameis Winston.
What round is Calvin? What is his ADP? Didn't he go in the 4th or 5th round in our dynasty?
He's going around Gallup and Boyd, I believe, in redraft.
Yeah.
Which I would take him before them for sure.
What round are they going in?
I want to say 4th, somewhere around there.
To me, I feel like that's the steal.
I think
that's a steal
for
him
too.
and Boyd. But
I think as a wide receiver 2, I think it's a steal for sure. But wide receiver 1, there's actually people saying Ridley should be a wide receiver 1 this year, and I don't. Sure, his ceiling is literally the lowest possible wide receiver 1. As a wide receiver 2, I'd love that. But as a wide receiver 1, I'm not doing that. I can't. I wouldn't say that's hating. Would you say that's hating, Alex?
I don't think that's hating.
I'm not saying it's hating. I just feel like you guys are coming off a little too low on him.
Well, I mean, I think
I could see him blowing up. I don't know if he will, but
I don't know about a blow up. I can see him, like I said, wide receiver 12. But I think that Russell Gage, I think he's the bigger beneficiary of Mohamed Sanu getting traded last year than Calvin Ridley. I mean, looking at Calvin Ridley's numbers, he went from fantasy points per game in PPR, he jumped from 12.9 to 17.5, which is obviously a big jump. That's 4.5 points about. And a lot of other statistics jumped up for him as well. Like he increased his targets per route run by 3%. He increased his yards per route run by 0.7 of a yard, which jumped from 1.6 to 2.3. Obviously, another big jump. Yards per game went from 53 to 80, but his targets only jumped from 1.5 or from 6.3 to 7.8. I don't see him having that Godwin ceiling, especially as a wide receiver 1, like I said earlier. But I mean, as a wide receiver 2, it's definitely worth I'd take him probably late third round, if not mid third round, honestly, for wide receiver 2.
I can hop on that.
Then again, I probably don't think I'm going to go 1 running back and 2 wide receivers, but I guess we'll see how the opportunity presents itself.
In a lot of standard drafts, I don't even know if I'm doing one this year, but I just with how barren the running back group gets so quickly, I could see myself going 2 or 3 in the first 3 rounds. I could see Ridley being an option.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm 4th if he's still there. I'd be pretty excited about that.
I would be fine with him as my, okay. I did say I wouldn't want him as my wide receiver 1, but that's if my offense is pretty balanced.
Well, I mean, if I've drafted Elliott, Edwards, Hilaire, and Austin Eckler in the first 3 rounds.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely do that then, for sure. Because, I mean, you have 3 guaranteed possible upside RB1s, all 3 of them. So, I mean, I would probably go with Ridley as my wide receiver 1 at that point. I would be safe. I would be comfortable with it. But speaking as just generally speaking, I don't think he's going to finish in the top 9, top 10 wide receivers, honestly.
Curtis Samuel, can we touch base with him? Or are you two still discussing?
I mean,
Sure.
I'm fine with talking Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel.
What about him?
I like him because he started to be used as a gadget type player. And I think although he provides speed and pretty great route running as of his that data, but Curtis Samuel provides access to something that Teddy Bridgewater could adapt to. He's conservative, so being that Samuels is that gadget type player, I think he's going to provide better fantasy perception than Robbie Anderson.
I think
he'll outperform Anderson only because Anderson has done pretty much nothing. But
I think if Samuel's used better, he'll finish above Robbie Anderson for sure. But it's just the question mark because obviously Robbie Anderson was with Matt Rule in college, Temple, and then you bring him in on a 2-year deal to Carolina, and then you say you're not going to trade Curtis Samuel unless you get a good offer, which, I mean, you don't even have to state that. I mean, you really don't have to say that. That's just something that you should – if you get a good offer for any player, I mean, unless it's literally like a Luke Kuechly or something like that at that point before he retired, obviously. Then, I mean,
I think they'd be cool trading him now.
Yeah, probably right now. But with Curtis Samuel, I like the dude. I always have. He's gotten he got pretty fucking unlucky last year with Kyle Allen. Sure, you can say they all, DJ Moore played with Kyle Allen, but he did pretty amazing. Okay. Curtis Samuel's average target depth was about 14 yards last year, okay? Shows that he's a deep threat. They use him as a deep threat, which I don't think he should be used as a deep threat. I think he should be used as a playmaker. Someone kind of like a Tyreek Hill, who's not always just getting tossed on big, deep plays. He sometimes get used in jet sweeps, and sometimes they use Curtis Samuel for that. But, I think he should be used more as a gadget player than as just a strictly Rashad Perriman, run down the field for me real quick. If you get open, I'll toss it your way and try to catch it. I don't agree with that use. And with Teddy Bridgewater coming in, obviously we said he's conservative, not going to help him very much. But then again, it is an upgrade from Kyle Allen. There's this stat on playerprofiler.com, link in the description. It's pretty subjective, but they have 2 stats called money throws and interceptable passes. Obviously, you guys can think about the definitions yourselves. But Kyle Allen's ratio for money throws to interceptable passes last year was 1 money throw for every 5 interceptable passes, okay? Let me just give you some context real quick. You ready for this?
Bad.
You know Jameis Winston, the aggressive gunslinger who just lacks awareness and just tosses it? His ratio was 1 to 2.5. 1 to 5 compared to 1 to 2.5. You tell me who the worst quarterback is.
Yeah, I was when I was looking at Samuel, I read some stuff about some Carolina fans were telling me that it just seemed like every game Curtis Samuel would get open deep and Kyle Allen would just miss him by about 55 yards.
Yeah.
So that's got to be depressing.
There's a stat floating around. I don't have it, obviously, but thinking off the top of my head, it's called Unrealized Err Yards, and that's the difference in intended air yards and actually converted air yards and stuff. And Curtis Samuel leads that by a large mile. And obviously, I mean, with Kyle Allen last year, it didn't really help him at all. And Curtis Samuel's catchable target rate last year was 62.6%. So all the targets that he got, only 62% of them were catchable. That's 105th out of all wide receivers in the NFL last year. That's just complete shit. Like it's bonkers. How do you trot Kyle Allen out there every single week and not just like, I don't know, it pisses me off, to be honest. Curtis Samuel's not being used properly. Hopefully this new regime can come in and use him properly, but if not, I mean, he's kind of trashed. But
fantasy-wise, still a great wide receiver, just trapped.
Yeah, trapped. I said in my
notes, you said trapped?
Yeah, well, I said trapped.
I thought you said trashed.
Yeah, he's trashed with, I mean, if they don't use him properly and with a conservative quarterback. But if they get Curtis Samuel, say Curtis Samuel gets traded, okay? If he lands in Green Bay, that's my ideal situation for him. Green Bay, or even say New Orleans, just get him an accurate quarterback who is not conservative.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can say that for every wide receiver, but I could see Curtis Samuel
bring his ass to Philly.
I would be.
That's what I've been thinking. I just didn't want to be the Eagle fan to say it. People would be like, you have a biased opinion on where Curtis Samuels is going to land.
Fuck them people, bro.
I don't really
Curtis
know
Samuel,
exactly
what
to think of him, because like I've heard a lot of people say that they think he's overrated, and then I've heard a lot of people say that I think that like Allen pretty much fucked over any chance he had of production. So I'm firmly in wait and see mode for him.
Even the year before that, like his opportunity, like quality of opportunity, I guess you could say, was also not that great.
Not fantastic.
Not fantastic. It was like
I'm sure it wasn't because Cam Newton was not that good the last few years of his career.
Not good.
Like, sorry to anyone who thinks otherwise, but he just wasn't. Like,
his catchable target rate was, I think it was like 74% compared to the 60, whatever the hell it was. It went from 70, I think it was like around 70th or 60th of all wide receivers to 105th. So obviously it doesn't help him in his progressions and whatnot, but yeah.
Not ideal.
Very less ideal. But dynasty-wise, pick him up because you could probably get him for dirt cheap, at least right now. If not right now, probably in a couple months whenever he starts playing and they don't use him properly, if that happens, which I hope fucking not. But yeah, dynasty-wise.
I think Brady will get proper use out of him.
I hope so.
I mean, they signed Anderson to be the guy to run down the field repeatedly. So
I hope he is, because his depth of target was, I think it was like 15 compared to Curtis Samuel's 14. Obviously, he's only a yard off, but I don't know. It's concerning with me because Matt Rule's there, and I feel like they'll try to get Robbie Anderson more utilized than Curtis.
Well, you got to think like Matt Rule is pretty hands off on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, what is his role then if he's hands off on the offense? I mean,
inspiring leader.
I suppose.
That's all I got for you. I mean, like, he took over a Baylor program that was pretty much a shithole when he got there after, like, Art Briles. After that thing ended. I mean, he turned that around pretty quickly, so.
I just hope for Curtis Samuel's sake he ends up either being used properly or gets out of there and goes to a team with a great quarterback. That's all I got to say about him.
I agree.
Now, in redraft, I guess I'll address redraft purposes. Wide receiver 3 is probably where I'd be drafting him, like a wide receiver 30, 35, around there. I'd probably be fine with drafting him there. But, yeah. You got anything to say about Curtis Samuel, Brandon?
I just hope they use him properly to his ability. I view Robbie Anderson coming into town as, I mean, not great. If they could have just not done that, that would have been better. But, I mean, Robbie Anderson might open up things that Curtis Samuel will benefit from. And just the way that Teddy Bridgewater plays, conservative, he's going to throw passes that might benefit Curtis more than Robbie.
Now, Alex, this is probably a question for you more so than either me or Brandon, but what do you think, who do you think will be used as a primarily heavy slot receiver in this offense, if any of them?
Probably more.
Probably more, yeah.
That's the way I would think would make.
I don't know. Wide receiver 30 is a bit too high for me for Samuel, but I don't hate the guy.
Off the top of my head, that was strictly off the top of my head. I don't even know where he's going or where he's ranked, honestly. But
I think he finished like around like 40-ish, like upper 30s.
I mean,
in terms of like points per game average last year.
Yeah.
So
I would still think like using that information plus my assumption of him going around 30, 35, I'd be comfortable taking him as like a 35 just because of the fact like the upside's still there, like say because the new regime's there, like new brainstorm, new thinking, new way of offense, I guess. Like say they use him differently. There's still that chance. Like there's not like, oh, let's just keep using the same exact way because it's a different entire coaching staff there now. So I mean, the opportunity or the potential is definitely possibly still there. Definitely possibly still there, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Definitely possibly.
Emmanuel Sanders, Alex.
I'm a fan. I think like it's been a minute since we've seen like another competent receiver play in New Orleans. Or another good receiver, and I think he and Breeze could find some success together. At least I would expect that.
Yeah,
which is
definitely can see that.
Why I'm slotting him ahead of Samuel and Anderson. I like the potential fit better than the fact that he's playing with Breeze. I know he's older, like he's 33, but I'm a fan. I feel like if you can get him pretty cheap, I would definitely encourage it.
Yeah.
I'm
a fan of Sanders too.
I was doing like early off-season mock drafts in like June, like not June. It was like early May and stuff. I thought Emmanuel Sanders was like the steal of like the 11th round. I was like, holy shit, how is he going all the way this far? I kind of came back to earth and started like looking at things. The second most targeted wide receiver in the Saints offense, going all the way back to 2017. Okay, 2019, 56 targets from Ted Ginn. 2018, 44 targets from Traquan Smith. 2017. Ted Ginn had 70 targets, okay?
Yeah, but are you hearing those names? Like, you're talking about a way over-the-hill Ted Ginn and some guy named Traquan Smith who they spent a third-round pick on.
I think Traquan Smith is not a bad wide receiver.
He hasn't done shit, though. So
I mean, a lot of people haven't done shit. But Ted Ginn, the year that he did have the 70 targets in 2017, that was also when the tight end situation in New Orleans was Josh Hill and Michael Humanumamaya, if anybody remembers that man. I don't see Emmanuel Sanders getting a lot of targets, which obviously limits his upside. And I mean, there's obviously other people on that offense that are 10 times more talented. You got Kamara, you got Michael Thomas, clearly. Then you have people who are definitely going to take targets away. Jared Cook, even Adam Troutman. Traquan Smith, I don't think they're just going to let that man fade away. He's still talented, in my opinion. He's a good wide receiver. And the defense hasn't gotten worse, so game script obviously is not going to be changing drastically. And Breeze, and to couple with that, Breeze hasn't averaged more than 34 pass attempts per game since 2016. He's averaged 34, 33, and 32 pass attempts. Obviously, it's not 20 pass attempts, but it's also not like a league high. Like there's not much volume in that offense, the passing offense. And when you got somebody like Michael Thomas just vacuuming up all these targets, I kind of find it hard for Sanders to, I guess, quote, find targets. I don't know. Obviously,
I think he'll find them just due to being a talented receiver.
He is, but I'm still worried, obviously. The Achilles didn't seem like it bothered him, obviously, that much last year. He still performed pretty fucking amazing, but I just have question marks just due to age. Like, it's kind of like, I don't want to compare him to Deshaun Jackson just because that's pretty much boring. It's not even accurate either, but his age at 33 years old just worries me that he's not like that's you said Ted Ginn's an over the hill Ted Ginn in 2017 getting these targets, right? Now, while Emmanuel Sanders did perform pretty much like a good wide receiver last year after tearing his Achilles, which is pretty shocking, he's still pretty much an over-the-hill Emmanuel Sanders. Let's be real.
Compared to what he used to be. However, I think Emmanuel Sanders at his peak is better than Ted Ginn at his peak.
Well, yeah. That's not a given. Now, would you say – I guess this is my question. Would you say that an over-the-hill Emmanuel Sanders is better than peak Ted Ginn?
I don't really know how good peak Ted Ginn is, so.
All right.
Also, Emmanuel Sanders, hasn't played with a quarterback this talented in a while. So I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to be because he's kind of just languished in Denver for a few seasons. And he got traded to the Niners, but I'm not exactly a Garoppolo truther. So
I think he's a decent quarterback. I mean, the offense itself is pretty.
I think he's
amazing.
wildly overrated, and it was hilarious that they gave him that much money.
Oh yeah, I agree. But I mean,
Like the Shanahan offense, they could have just found some random asshole to throw the ball.
kept Nick Mullins. That man was doing some shit.
Instead, they gave him like $30-some million a season. So we'll see if they regret that.
Brandon, what you got to say about Mr. Sanders?
Mr. Sanders, nothing much. I mean, you guys covered all the thoughts I was having. I tend to lean Ed's way on this.
Well, then you'll just have to fight me then.
Fuck you, Brandon.
I think he's going to have a blow-up game here or there. I think it's inevitable with this offense.
He's going to have at least
however, I
17
think
of
they're
them.
going to use him conservatively because of age. And who knows, maybe that might open up some opportunity for Traquan.
I guess who you guys want to touch on next? Do you both have Russell Gage at 10 or no?
I have Tyler Johnson at 10. Although I debated putting Gage there.
We both have Tyler Johnson at 10 and Gage we both have.
Yeah, our final four is actually our final five is the exact same for Brandon.
Yeah. Final five, really?
Yep.
Anderson, Johnson, Gage, Smith, Miller. Smith and Miller are just kind of the two token names that I put on at the end of the list.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
put Miller in there just because, I mean, I don't see his opportunity really popping out, obviously.
I can see him starting over Johnson, but I like Johnson a lot, so I think Johnson will take that role from him.
The way I think about it, they said Bruce Arians came out and said that their base offense is going to be 2 tight end sets, 12 personnel, but I don't see Scotty Miller shining on the outsides of 5'10", 170, or it's not even 5'10". I don't even know how tall he is or what his physical attributes are, but he's not the most physical, and getting pressed on the outside or something like that, it's not going to work for the small man. So I can see Tyler Johnson getting more opportunities than him. Plus, I mean, I don't know. I like Tyler Johnson a good bit, clearly. And I can just
You said he was going to be top 2 wide receiver coming out of the draft, right?
I think he said top 3 career.
Top three career out of the draft, yeah.
I could probably still stick with that, possibly. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I thought he said 2, but
no, he said 3.
Yeah, because I know Judy's going to succeed, and I know Lamb's probably going to succeed too. But I guess Russell Gage, we'll talk about him real quick. So splits with and without Sanu, okay? So let's spit these numbers out to you real quick. Snap percentage with Sanu. He didn't see greater than 25% snap share. After Sanu, he did not see less than 50% snap share for the rest of the season. Obviously, it's a given. You take one player out of the rotation, you have to fill him in.
It also helps that Calvin Ridley got, like, what he missed, like the final 6 games, something like that?
Yeah, it was like 5 games, yeah. Then targets per game. They jumped from 1.6 to 7.3. Clearly a given. You lose a player, you get a player. Boom. Passing routes per game for Russell Gage jumped from 4.4 passing routes to 30.6. Astronomical jump. Clearly, you lose a player, you get a player. But fantasy points per game jumped by almost 9 points per game. He averaged about 10.3 points per game in PPR. Obviously, that's not astronomical, but he had a few games in there that could help you as a wide receiver 3 flex option. I mean, not sure off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure he had like 12-point games, 15-point games, something like that. But he is a pretty good sleeper. I would call him a sleeper among all the wide receivers. Yeah, I was thinking about putting him above Emmanuel Sanders, honestly, because his high-volume passing offense. Say Hayden Hurst does bust. I don't see it happening, but say it does happen. Russell Gage could easily outperform Sanders just by getting a number of targets. And, yeah.
And that's
They should probably have
easy
Gage over Johnson, actually, but I don't know. I like Tyler Johnson. I guess that influenced me putting him in there. I don't think he's a bad option, like, at the very end of the draft. They're just someone to keep your eye on.
Yeah, he had –
because, I mean, he's presumably at best the 4th best target on that team, but or 4th most targeted player. However, they do throw a shitload of passes down there, so.
He had 5 games over 10 points last year, which is obviously, I mean, 5 games of his 5 of 9 of his games without Mohamed Sanu is when he had double-digit points. Obviously, one of those games was without Julio Jones, so he probably sucked up a lot of targets, and yeah, the only game in which he had a touchdown as well, which is notable, I guess. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about Russell Gage, I guess.
Music-worthy dart throw.
Yeah. Also was his slot percentage. He played 64% of his snaps in the slot in 2019 compared to 11% in 2018. Obviously, that has to do with the fact it's a new left and slot receivers, fantasy, targets. Beautiful.
That sounds like the end of the wide receivers of this division.
If you guys want it to be the end, let's have it be the end.
I have nothing
about
else
all I
to
got.
say. Now that the sun has no longer on me, I can move on to the end. I don't know if y'all. Oh, there it is. It's back.
The sun is back.
Cloud. You see it? You
Yeah,
see
I
it
see it.
happen?
So you see it happen?
Perfect. It was perfect timing. I bring it up and it's like, it ain't gone. You're wrong.
All right, be here. What time is it?
Well, it's time for. I declare it's time for.
I do declare it's question time. Question time.
I will intentionally quit out of this time.
Oh, you can't escape us.
Yeah, you can't escape the swagaliciousness.
Actually, be pretty simple.
Question. There's one animal you can talk to. What type of animal would it be?
Are we talking like a specific breed of animal I can always talk to, or like one actual animal?
So that one actual
breed.
Animal
Okay, breed.
Yeah, just breed. And then you can talk to that one specific one.
Whoa.
Because you walk up to a pack of lions, you might choose an angry lion to talk to. You wouldn't know because you can't. You walk up and you're like, I want to talk to that lion, and then you're stuck with just that one. Or if you could turn into like a best friend and you guys hang out on Saturday nights and go off to the spring and, you know, it'd be a good
civilians.
friendship. Yeah, you could. Well,
What?
I suppose you could do that hypothetically. I would choose against it, but
I would imagine that's what the lion would want to do.
well, I mean, he is your best friend, so
I like to
do
support
whatever your
my
best
friend's
friend.
activities.
Yeah. And plus that'd be rude. He'd be like, "Hey, man, here's dinner." You're not gonna be like, "Nah, no, thank you."
I don't want that.
It's rude to pass on that.
That's
No,
what I'm
but
saying.
all around breed.
I definitely pick a lion because I want to live like Tarzan.
It's tough.
My thing.
I'm not gonna pick a lion because I have literally never seen a lion in person. So
Yeah, and plus, when are you just walking around and you see it's just a lion? Like,
Well, if I wanted to live
yeah,
like
there's not a lot of
Tarzan,
them just kind of hanging out in my neighborhood.
I would fly over to Africa and just live in the jungle with the king of the jungle. You know what I'm saying?
okay. I mean, they would fight for you. You could become their pack.
Would they though? What if they just didn't like you? What if they thought you were a douchebag?
think-
Oh,
Oh, wait.
yeah, that'd be
Would
tough.
lions
Man.
talk back to me in that situation?
You can understand them, so I'm assuming you can communicate with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my thing. Actually, I want to say like a.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you could hypothetically talk to a lion right now; it just wouldn't respond. I thought the basis of this was that whether you just understand their response back to you, or whether it's like in your head, but regardless, you can hear them respond.
I would definitely go with a dog.
A dog.
See, my
Speaking of
initial thought was house pet, but then I think about it and like I don't know if I'd want my dog to be able to talk to me.
yeah,
I feel like your dog would just be walking up to you like, hey, let's go outside. Let's do this. Let's do that. Or
Yeah,
like your
you
dog would
better
walk
be
up
all-
to you and like probably question you. Like
you'd
if
be
you're
like, "Hey,
doing
man,
something
I'm gonna
stupid.
pee on this right now. Oh, yeah, right here, right now.
Right,
Oh,
right, you
yeah.
think?
Okay. I'm
Or like
gonna get some food now, right here, right now.
I
That's
just feel
what
like your
he's
dog would
telling you right now.
constantly be bothering you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to talk to a cat because cats are assholes. And like
Yeah,
as soon
Yeah.
as my cat was like, "Hey man, go fuck yourself," I would kill it.
Now, would you be able to pick your animal's like accent? Because I would definitely.
I think it's like a series. You can pick them and be like, I want an Alexa. I don't like the Siri's voice. Or you can like Or is this just a power and you can like control their voices?
I can
want
change
that
them
one to
kind of
talk
time.
like Brad Pitt. Oh, this one. Oh, you're Morgan Freeman. Yeah, okay.
That would be golden. Yeah, I would definitely choose
Yeah.
dog.
So,
Go up to a rhino, start talking to it.
well,
When
that's
do you
only if
see
you
a
chose
rhino?
rhinos.
I don't know.
No, no.
See,
Well, if I had this ability where I could do any animal, I'd travel. I would definitely travel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
but-
saying.
Brandon,
Rhino.
what if we're picking one animal? What's your animal, Brandon?
What's my animal? Oh. Now, this is where you could play it smart. You could pick like I don't know. You can pick a animal and like say ants. You can pick ants and be like, "Hey, ants, why don't come into my house?"
Yeah.
You think they'd
drink my
listen to
drink.
you? They'd
Before
come
we
That's
get
what
too
I'm
far
saying.
away from that, I'm actually going to point out that was going to be my option. I'm taking
Really?
ants.
Really?
Yes, because I
And you can
want
control them.
I want to ask them, hey,
World
what the
domination
fuck are you
for
doing in
Alex.
here? Like, what are you doing in here? Get the fuck out, or I'm going to kill all of you.
Yeah.
until they
And-
create like war, and then they just bring all of their ant families and kill
You know what?
Yeah.
I encourage them to bring all their ants here because then I'm just going to keep a jug of poison on me and
Alex.
like kill all of the ants in one
Alex.
fell swoop.
You're not thinking about this right. You are basically their like god. Like you can talk
Maybe,
to
I
them
don't
and
know if that's
communicate
true.
with them.
like, don't touch my food. Just stay in here. Don't
Yeah, like, hey,
Yeah,
look,
I'll make them an
you
offer.
can
Like,
punish
hey,
them by just squishing a few of them, and then they'd be like, "All right, I'll step back in line."
I mean, I will point out to them that if they
there
stop
of
coming
ants.
in my house, I will just start leaving some trash outside for them to eat. And I'm
Uh,
also going to ask them, like, they need
to
to
clean
tell
up.
the other bugs to stay out of my shit, or I'm going to kill them too. And if they can't communicate with the other bugs that way, then they just need to kill them, or else I'm going to, pour, like, animal poison or bug poison all over my yard.
So you'd be fine with being responsible for the death of an entire bug race.
As long as it's relative to my property, yes, I'd be happy about it.
Stink bugs.
Tell me what benefit ants serve to me other than
stink
like
bugs, I would not want to talk.
destroy or stink bugs. You could kill every stink bug in the planet right now, and I don't really think I'd be offended by it.
Butterfly effect.
You know what? Whatever. If that causes the apocalypse, then so be it. It was a worthwhile apocalypse.
All right, Brandon. You said ants, or are you choosing something else?
Man, I'm trying to think of everyday animals I run into, but none of them would be interesting enough. Like a squirrel would just be annoying. We
Yeah.
already discussed the dog and the cat. I mean, ants. You got insects. Like I don't know.
My only problem is that like if like the dog thing, if the ants come up and approach you, like if there's like 100 ants in your house, that could be really annoying. Part of me wanted to go birds because I already hear birds to begin with, so it'd be nice to eavesdrop on the birds' conversations.
I think what I would do is I talk to like a Black Panther. So I go anywhere to go find a Black Panther and I befriend them.
Oh,
And
anyway.
Yeah, well, of course,
Yeah.
where they are, but you
I have
go
another
there,
concern then when you're done with this.
You befriend one of them. You convince them to fly home with you. You fly home, and you live your
With
life.
the Black Panther.
Yes.
Black Panthers are gonna be.
Fly.
You have to
The
buy
airport-
it. You have to buy it
The
and get the
airport will-
certifications you
We'll
need
definitely be
to
okay
own
with
a
that.
Black Panther.
Oh my
Yeah, I
god.
just found this in the woods. I would like 2 tickets, please.
Don't worry, it's friendly.
I'll be like,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
It's
got some
growling at me. I'm sure that's a
real
good sign.
jokes.
Oh my
Don't worry, he's just saying you look really.
People would think you're crazy, bro.
Anyway, what are you going to do when you get home with this panther that has you so excited?
Well,
Oh my god.
Nothing?
well,
Nothing
we're
at all.
gonna hang out.
Are you
Okay,
gonna
anyway,
pink?
While you're...
He might get bored of me and just want to fly back to his home with his brothers and sisters, but that's a chance I'm willing to take. I think I can become their friend and
My next concern is that a lot of animals like only make noises, only speak out loud to attract mates. So if you can hear an animal, you might just constantly hear a bunch of horny birds,
yep,
a
that's
bunch of
one.
horny squirrels, a bunch of horny rabbits,
birds.
Like they're
God.
probably just walking around,
Cows would be the worst.
just screaming like, "Hey, come have sex with me." That's all you hear. Like
Yeah.
that would be unfortunate. You'd be like, "Wow, I can hear the animal." And okay, never mind. I don't
Oh.
want to hear the animals anymore.
You walk up to him, hey, what's up, man? And he looks at you, he's like,
You want to have sex?
yeah.
Sex me.
Like, whoa! Again, another fear for dogs. I feel like the dog would just constantly be walking up to you, like, "Hey, what can I have sex with you?" Nothing.
Yeah.
Cut your balls off. How about that? How would you explain that to your dog when you take him home? And
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
"Hey, man.
Hey, man, what's going on? I thought we were cool with that.
Where are my nuts?"
Ah,
You're like, doctor has them.
yeah.
Like Family Guy type.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be enjoyable. Have a beer with your pup.
Yeah. But just because we can talk to them doesn't mean they do
Yeah,
They're human.
activities.
I am very okay with like
They
the
don't just
dog
start drinking
not
beer.
being able to.
Come back from work, your dog sit on the couch. Hey, what's up? Hey, doing?
Just imagine you empower lions to do this, and they just overrule the world because they all turn into freaking humans.
You just
that
see
can,
lions in
talk.
like lab coats and like goggles on and shit. Like, I'm fighting the. Never mind. I'm just gonna shut
They're
up.
developing thumbs.
Yeah.
A race of intelligent lions with thumbs. I don't think we do very well against.
Well, I think we probably wouldn't lose a war against lions.
Oh, we would just kill all of them because we have an absurd numbers advantage and they don't have guns.
Now, what about monkeys? Like Planet of the Apes type?
Yeah, I was just about to say Planet of the Apes just seems like bullshit to me.
I think it's
because they always just take over like one city.
Mm-hmm.
We would just send the army in and just wipe that city off the map if we had to.
I don't want to talk about killing animals, but I do love Planet of the Apes. That's a great movie.
Yeah, but if those animals are shooting at you with machine guns,
I'll try to talk to them.
Well, those animals.
I know y'all are angry, but
I'll give you some bananas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a bomb, actually. So bye.
Jesus Christ. All right.
The Planet of the Apes, they're all smart. They wouldn't just take a bomb.
Thank you, Alex. You misunderstand, Brandon.
Put a bomb in the banana?
I mean like a surface-to-air missile. Like you're not getting it. Like here's the delivery. Like you're getting it delivered a mile above your city when it detonates and blows you all to hell.
I feel like we should not be talking about this.
Yeah.
I just thought about this. This is definitely not a thing we should be talking about.
Well, that's all we got.
It's all related to Planet of the Apes, isn't it? I never really watched them.
Yeah, maybe. It might be. I really don't know. All right. Well, it's not like anybody watches this far anyway. But anyway, I guess with that information and those animals and whatnot,
bye.
All right, it's first choice fantasy, and we're heading out. So catch you on the flip side next week. All right, comment, subscribe.
I'm headed to second choice fantasy right now.
Word. I'll work on third choice then. Alex, you got fourth?
Third choice. Okay.
No.
Shit. All right.
Why don't we all just make a first choice?
Why don't we just make another channel with just animals choice?
Animals choice? Oh.
Animals choice.
I won't see you there.
Oh.
All right. Well, deuces, I guess.
Yeah, that's all we got.